I can see places where I have grown. I stepped away from all of that, though, and went to college, and it wasn't until I was in college and in my creative writing program, I took a playwriting class. As part of this class, each year, a select group of students, we would submit plays for consideration to be produced. And I have mentioned in the past, I'm not very competitive, but everyone in this class was one of my friends, and I wasn't going to let my friends have their play produced and mine not. I didn't want to miss out on that experience. So I worked for an entire term writing a short 10-minute play. It's a play titled Special Delivery, and the play in this assignment that the play came from, we were asked to think of social issues that we had witnessed and try to create a scene in which these issues were explored. And so that's what this play is a product of. Part of my theatrical journey and my exploration of social issues while I was in college. And so what I want to do is Tyler and I are going to do a reading of this play together. There's a little bit of body humor in it. We've toned it down, I think, enough that it should be appropriate to everyone. But after we share the play, I want to invite all of you into a moment of discussion about what this play is about and what it inspires or evokes within you. So Tyler, places. And I'll start with the stage directions. Fluorescent lights flood the noisy office. Jean and Tom are both in their cubicles, talking over the partition. Jean's cubicle is disheveled and full of lawn gnomes. Tom's is barren.
Then he told me to get out of his office.
I can't believe you asked him.
Mr. D doesn't scare me.
You're such a dork, Tom.
I'm a dork. You're the one with a cubicle overrun with lawn gnomes.
Whose sales are up 20%?
You don't honestly believe the gnomes have anything to do with that, do you?
What if I do?
And I'm the dork?
I can't believe he gave you time off anyway.
It's all about buttering him up and doing what you need to do.
You sound like a pervert.
So?
You better not let anyone from HR hear you talking that way.
What's the worst they could do to me? Fire me?
No. Sensitivity training.
I'd rather be fired.
What did you say to him anyway?
I told him I needed a few weeks to pull myself together.
What did you really say?
I told you.
Uh-huh.
Well, I might not have phrased it exactly like that.
Really? I never would have guessed. What did you really tell him, Tom?
I told him I'm under a lot of stress and need some time.
Like he'd care.
Well, it worked, didn't it?
I'm sure.
I got time off, didn't I?
This isn't fair. What did you really tell him?
Okay. I might have told him that my grandma died.
You're going to hell.
Things don't get much worse than this. This place is worse than hell.
It's not that bad here.
It's not that bad? You were the one who wanted to call in a bomb threat so you wouldn't have to come to work last month.
I was joking, but at least I wouldn't have missed my brother's wedding if I did. Why are you complaining anyway? He gave you the time off.
Only because I lied to him.
I'm sure having a penis had nothing to do with it.
You say I'm the pervert.
It's true.
You mean Mr. D, does his wife know?
You know, he only gave you time off because you're a man.
I know no such thing.
You would if you were the one being discriminated against.
I thought you said it wasn't that bad here.
Do you take anything seriously?
I'm sorry to have offended the Gnome Queen.
You leave them out of this.
I've got it. Why don't you have your gnome minions get you some time off?
I think it would take an act of God, not gnomes.
You'd have better luck with the gnomes.
Darn it, Tom. Is anything sacred to you?
I go to the bar religiously.
And that makes you feel fulfilled?
Well, it makes me pee a lot if that's the fulfillment you're talking about.
Joke all you want, but if you were in my shoes, you wouldn't think it was funny.
Okay, Unabomber.
Boy, 2 weeks.
You should come with me.
Mr. D would never give me the time off, too.
Like he'd notice you were gone.
He'd kill me.
He doesn't even remember your name.
That's not true.
Okay, Laura.
It was a Monday.
Sure it was. Sarah.
That was a mistake. He just got off the phone with headquarters.
You're right. Jan.
I'd probably be fired just for asking.
What's so bad about that?
Some of us have rent to pay.
I pay rent.
It's not the same.
Why is that?
Your mom isn't going to kick you out if your rent is late.
She might.
I doubt it.
You could always get another job.
I barely got this one.
With your resume, I can see why.
Hey, some of us have a sense of ethics.
I already told you it wasn't lying. It was, I just exaggerated a little.
A little?
Okay, so maybe I wasn't the top salesman for the tri-state area?
Oh, I never would have guessed.
Hey, you're mad because you know I'm right about you quitting.
I already told you I need this job, Tom.
Someone got a gambling problem?
No, but we can't all be as idealistic and spontaneous as you.
I'm not idealistic.
Okay, boatman.
It's not just the boat. It's my dream.
Well, my dream is not to be evicted.
Come on, Gene, live it up a little bit. Do something spontaneous.
It's called work for a reason.
Yes, but this is my place of employment, not work.
What's the difference?
The spelling, I think.
Darn it!
What?
I forgot to make copies of my budget reports for the meeting this afternoon.
Remember, don't look into the copyright.
I'll try to resist. Jean grabs a stack of papers off her desk and walks out of the office. Tom finds a comb in his desk and frantically starts combing his hair. Jean walks back into the office and sits back at her desk.
Are you taking lunch today?
No, I need to up my productivity.
Oh, I thought you had the gnomes for that.
They're strictly sales, if I'm honest. Productivity is more of a dwarf thing.
You sure have a creative way of being square.
If I got vacation, I wouldn't have to go to such lengths to keep myself sane.
Sane? You're surrounded by pointy-headed people.
Their heads aren't pointy, just their hats.
Yeah, I flunked I flunked gnome anatomy in college.
Grow up, Tom.
Me or the gnomes?
You.
Ouch.
You have feelings?
Just because I kid around a little bit doesn't mean I don't have feelings.
No, but lying about your grandmother's death does.
Technically, I'm not lying. She died years ago.
And you just got around to having the funeral?
If you want time off, just ask him, but don't take it out on me.
You know he won't give it to me.
It's worth a try.
Yeah, if you're a man.
Well, you could always have a baby. That's something you get time off for.
You're joking, right?
Wendy got 6 months off when she had her kid.
And I'm sure it was a relaxing vacation.
She seemed happy to be back.
Because it's the only time she gets out of the house. Besides, when the 6 months is up, I still have a kid.
You don't have to keep it.
That wouldn't make company functions awkward.
At least you get some time off.
Yeah, 18 years later, and that's if I'm lucky.
If you don't like my idea, come up with one of your own.
What's the point?
Might work.
Jean suddenly stands up and goes over to the bookshelf in the office and retrieves a copy of the company's safety manual.
What are you doing with that?
You're right.
About having a kid?
No, about being spontaneous.
Reviewing safety procedure. How exciting.
It's going to get me a vacation, though.
Did the copier frazzle your brain?
No, look at this.
What does the emotional leave policy have to do with vacation?
It says, quote, Employees who sustain emotional trauma as a result of a work-related incident shall be placed on emotional leave.
Yeah, it says the trauma has to be work-related.
That just means it has to happen at work.
Don't hold your breath.
I won't. Jean picks up the phone and dials 911. I'm calling to report a suspicious-looking package. Yes, that's right. It's just sitting there. The address? Oh, it's 6700 Northeast Street. Yes, I'll hold. The lights fade. End. About. Yeah, gender-based workplace discrimination. Other thoughts?
I thought it was more about the level of effort that people put into not finding ways not to work. Because they are not where they ought to be.
So yeah,
Both characters were going to extreme lengths to figure out how not to work, being quite creative.
yeah. So it's a creative way of avoiding work. What else? Sorry, unhappiness. So, can you say more about that, Jenny?
Well, just that they were both unhappy and they didn't know how to change that.
Yeah. So sort of unhappiness that's like you don't know how to change, I'd say leading to what a really desperate way of trying to get time off. Any other thoughts? What do you think Esther.
How to be creative in order to get what you want.
Using our imaginations, being creative to get what you want. Well, maybe next time I'll use a better example. What do people think about what is the relationship between the two characters? What clues would cue you into?
Well, I know they're coworkers.
They're coworkers.
Further than that, pseudo-friends, maybe?
Pseudo friends? Did anyone get a sense that maybe someone wants to be more than friends?
Mr. Combs' hair.
Mr. Combs' hair. Yeah, the way that something like that, when we're thinking about, can give away more information about what that relationship is between the two characters. The subtle things that come on. Any other observations about their relationships?
Tom's a slacker and doesn't think he'll get fired. He just sort of knows he's safe.
Yeah,
Somehow Jean never feels safe.
yeah.
And I don't know if that's because of their genders or their work ethics or their, value system.
Yeah, so
Like you do a good job.
sort of the slacker who feels maybe very secure and I'm going to be here, no one's going to fire me, I can lie about my grandma dying, and then you have someone who, even the idea of asking, she's skipping lunch, she needs to work on being more productive, she's,
Yeah, I got the impression from that Tom had been there a long time, or at least been working in the work field longer than Gene had.
yeah.
So, like, his experiences taught him that he can get away with stuff,
Yeah.
and she didn't know that yet.
When there's a sense, he's come from some other job. Maybe he wasn't the top salesman in the tri-state area, but, he's confident he can get other jobs. He's confident he can go out. Jean, she says, I barely got this job. And they had that conversation about the ethics of building up your resume and what is ethical there, but yeah. So how did listening to the play and this conversation, how do you feel about that piece of theater? What feelings come out for you?
I was thinking about how Jean was very, that you're like playing these, I'm trying to be in the middle of these two characters, and life, like, she was very filled with fear of scarcity, fear of, like, you're not gonna be held, you know, you're not gonna, what you need isn't gonna be there, and he was just kind of like the total opposite, and
Yeah.
it seems like trying to find that middle space of having a faith, having a, like, the universe has your back, like, it's gonna be,
Yeah.
if you show up the best you can be, then it's gonna be, whatever happens is gonna be right. And it's kind of like, he's just kind of like, and he had in mind, he mentioned his mom, or somebody mentioned the mom, like, you know, you kind of got somebody that's, yeah, whatever, they'll do the work.
Yeah.
You know, you're gonna be held in that way versus showing up to be your best person, and it's almost like Jean was so fearful. I don't know if that was true, like, did you really just barely get that job, or is it just the fear of,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna have enough, I'm not gonna have what I need, I'm not gonna be safe, whatever. It's just interesting. Is it a dichotomy?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's very, that's thought provoking to me.
Thank you. Other emotions or thoughts? Esther.
A sense of insecurity, but also a sense of injustice.
Injustice, yeah.
Right, insecure injustice,
Yeah.
somehow.
So I think that's key in this. So this play actually came as the assignment I mentioned was to observe something in the world. I didn't work in this office, and actually I would say I'm not represented in one of these characters. But when I worked for the Washington State Parks just after high school, we had a boss, Mr. Dicey, who is the inspiration for Mr. D, who oftentimes had very different responses to people based on their gender and when people asked for vacation time and all sorts of perks like that. And so I think it was witnessing an injustice for me that sort of this scene unfolded. And I think that was a key emotion in my process, was sort of going, oh, there's an injustice here. In my own self, too, and those of you who know me a bit know I use a lot of humor, so I also tend to process things through satire and humor. And so I think it's interesting that witnessing that injustice and then bringing in our sense of processing with imagination can lead to something that allows us to kind of come to this understanding of the social force of sexism or gender-based discrimination. Well, thank you. Any final thoughts on this? We can talk more after, but that you'd like to share while we're all listening. Herb.
I didn't know that Jean was a female until quite a ways through the play.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and that's one of the things in theater too. I think sometimes the part of it is you get thrown into stuff and you don't always know, and that's part of situating, figuring it out as you go. So it keeps people on the edge of their seat. So thank you all. I appreciate you letting us share that in the discussion that you all provided. Now I'd like to invite us to join together in singing our closing hymn of the day. So if you please don your masks, if you would, and join in singing hymn number 18 in our hymnal, What Wondrous Love. I don't need a chair.
What wondrous love is this?
Please join us in extinguishing the flame of our chalice by repeating the words found in the order of our service. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth. The warmth of community or the fire of commitment. The warmth of community or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Our service has ended, but our service to the world and one another begins anew. May we go forth encouraged to use our imaginations to address those things that life puts before us. May it be so.